Time now for your forewarned weather with Cedric Haynes.
All right, let's talk about your forecast here as we get ready to kick off our Thursday. I wanted to update you on the temperature tracker because we typically average about 8 days here along the Wasatch Front with temperatures at 100 degrees or higher. We've already hit one. If you remember, that was a week ago where we hit 104. Yeah, talking about hitting that first 100-degree day. Back in 2022, though, that was a hot year. We had 34 days of 100-degree plus temperatures. I don't see that, but I do see us adding to those triple-digit numbers as we go throughout the next 7 days. St. George, hey, we typically average about 55 degrees at 100 degrees or plus. And, yeah, we've already had 16 of those. Now, keep in mind, we had a record 98. That was last year. Do you remember that? We were keeping count, and we had 98 days of 100 degrees or more. Hopefully, we don't see that, but we're going to add several more 100-degree days ahead here for us, so keep that in mind. Temperatures are a few degrees warmer than what we saw yesterday, especially off of the western half of the area here, and it's a mild start. We've got temperatures ranging from the 40s, 50s, down towards the 60s across the state, so definitely on the warm side. If you're thinking about do some hiking this morning, hey, maybe you're going to head up towards the Wasatch Back. We're looking pretty good. 50s this morning as you make your way up towards the Wasatch Back. Some comfortable conditions. We'll be at about the mid to upper 70s by lunchtime, and we should top out into the low 80s by the afternoon. Lots of sunshine, nice conditions, great hiking weather if you're heading up towards the mountains. Maybe you're thinking about staying down here along the lower elevations, getting some ice cream, getting that ice cream cone. Well, yesterday we were in the code orange, decent melting with temperatures in the 80s. Today, we bumped it up to the red zone. Eat it fast, folks. Temperatures into the mid-90s. That ice cream cone is not going to last long, but we should be just shy of needing to order a dish, at least for now. We'll see how that plays out in the coming days. Firing up the grill this evening, temperatures in the mid-90s along the Wasatch Front, dropping into the low 90s to upper 80s by late this afternoon and evening hours, but it's overall going to be pretty warm. Now, speaking of warm weather, here's the high-pressure ridge. The heat dome is going to expand back across the area. Here comes the heat out there across the western half of the country as temperatures start to soar heading into the end of the weekend and weekend. By the end of the weekend, we're going to see some very hot conditions building in as this heat dome continues to expand, and that means triple-digit heat is possible as we get towards the beginning of next week. Not only that, we are going to start to watch as we're going to kind of be sandwiched in between this area of high pressure and low pressure, and that typically starts to allow for some of that monsoon moisture to sneak up from the south. We'll see how that plays out. We still got a couple of days to watch that here. As we look at your rain outlook, you'll be able to see, again, it's looking really nice. In fact, it looks like we're going to definitely be seeing some wetter than average conditions, but I do want to caution you, this could set up just to our south and east, or it could set up just to our south and west. So we're going to have to fine-tune those small, minor details there. And, of course, it's a busy week next week with it being a holiday week. So we'll let you know how this kind of continues to play out. But there is a chance we could start to tap into some monsoon moisture by that time, and we could use the moisture, so that would be great news. The timing, not so great. All right, looking at your forecast for today, lots of hazy sunshine out there across the state, low to mid-90s across the north. We should be seeing 90s and triple digits across the southern half of the state. Tomorrow, we're going to see more of the same, low to mid-90s across the north with more triple-digit heat across the south and west there. Temperatures in the Wasatch Back in the 70s and 80s, but still warming up even there as well. The weekend forecast, it gets even warmer. Mid to upper 90s as we go throughout the weekend along the Wasatch Front. How about 103 to 105? Yeah, that's the forecast for places like St. George. Let me show you your forecast here in the extended range for St. George. Triple-digit heat on the way for the rest of the week, heading into the weekend and into next week. But there are some signs we can see some monsoonal moisture coming in next week. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for that. Otherwise, highs about 108 on your Monday for the Wasatch Front. We're looking at mid to upper 90s over the next several days with that potential triple-digit heat returning for the beginning of next week. All right, let's get a check out your traffic here this morning as we get you out there on the roads. You'll be able to see, it looks like we've got our trailer that was just sitting by itself out there in the middle of I-15 there, now cleared up. So that's some good news there, and traffic and lanes seem to be open back up for the most part, although I do see some lanes still blocked off there with UDOT there back in the background. But we'll keep an eye on that, but things seem to be flowing okay. Otherwise, I-215 northbound here in Salt Lake City looking pretty good, although we do have one stalled vehicle on the side there, not causing any delays at this time. Guys?